Thank you.
As we've reported, analysts are seeing mixed signals on the economy.
That's right. The Labor Department reports a better than expected jobs report, even as the Federal Reserve pressed on with another interest rate hike in an effort to curb inflation. The U.S. added 261,000 jobs in October, but the unemployment rate moved slightly higher to 3.7%.
Joining us now is Mitch Landrieu. He is a senior advisor to President Biden. Mitch, welcome. Thanks very much for being with us. In a statement released earlier, President Biden appeared to be saying the strong job growth in October negates recession concerns. But in reality, policymakers are trying to slow the labor market to curb inflation. So couldn't this report actually illustrate that we could be getting closer to, rather than farther from, a recession?
Well, first of all, we're not in a recession right now, and a recession obviously is not inevitable. The president, as you know, has created jobs every month he's been in office. He's created over 10 million jobs in a shorter period of time than any president in the history. And of course, today, another really good jobs report with the lowest unemployment rate, which means every American that wants to work is working. The job market is strong and robust, and that is really a good thing. It's not a bad thing. The Fed is independent. They're going to do the job that they're doing. But this president is going to continue to work every day to make sure that he's easing the burdens on Americans by creating jobs and also doing everything he can to reduce costs, because he knows inflation is at the top of the mind for folks.
Well, as you just mentioned, Mitch, that's what Americans are struggling with. Record high inflation. It's been going on for months now. So give us some examples. What is the president doing to combat it, and why is it taking so long?
Well, first of all, inflation is a global problem. There are 100 economies in the world that have higher inflation than the United States of America. And the question is, who's put what country in a better position to respond to this incredible challenge? And the answer to that is the President of the United States, because we do have a very strong economy. However, the president understands and gets up every day working on reducing the cost for Americans, which he's done by the legislation that he's proposed, and reducing prescription drug costs, reducing the price of gas, which has been down very substantially over the last couple of months, working on reducing health care costs. As you know, the Republicans in Congress have actually decided to do the exact opposite. It's almost like they're rooting for a recession, which is not something that's in the best interest of the American people. And so what they want to do is cut Social Security, cut Medicare, raise health care costs, raise prescription drug costs, give big pharma a break and give big energy a break, and make sure that the rich people don't pay their fair taxes. That's not what the president is for. And this election is not really about a referendum on the president. It's about a choice of what's best for America. And this president is never going to apologize for creating lots of good, high-paying jobs for American citizens.
Well, the October jobs report has been released 4 days before Election Day. Is the White House concerned about how it could impact voters?
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
So we have seen this October jobs report released just before Election Day. Is the White House concerned about how it could impact voters?
Well, it's a great jobs report. It's not a bad jobs report. This president is very proud of the fact that he's created millions of jobs every month that he's been in office, and the unemployment rate is low. If you said that before he ran for president and said that, what's he going to do? You would pat him on the back and say, great job. So we feel really good about where we are. The president continues, again, to fight every day to deal with the costs that American citizens feel every day in their pocketbook. He talks a lot about sitting around the kitchen table when he was a kid and watching the impact that high costs had on his dad and on his mom. So he really understands that, which is why he doubles down every day on reducing costs and lifting the burden for everyday Americans all the time. And that's what he's going to continue to do.
And Mitch, as we count down to Election Day, 4 days away, if Democrats lose their majority in either the House or Senate, does the president have a plan in place for continuing to carry out his economic agenda?
Well, there's no question about it. I mean, the president's the president for all of the American people, irrespective of what Congress looks like. He'll work with whoever the people of the United States of America, put in office. However, his philosophy and his theory of governing is not going to change. He's for the little guy. He's for putting people back to work. He's about giving people dignity. He's about rebuilding America from the bottom up and the middle out. He's not for cutting Social Security. He's not for cutting Medicare. He's not for giving big pharma a break. He's not for giving big oil a break. He's not for giving wealthy people who are not paying their fair share a break. He's for average American people, and he's going to give them the tools they need to build generational wealth and to build a better America. And he's going to keep doing that irrespective of who controls Congress.
Mitch, one last question for you. For Americans who are looking at these high prices, some people will recall the White House at one point using the word transitory to describe inflation. That's something we haven't heard from the White House in a long time. When you look at people planning their budgets here in the months and the year ahead, What is the time frame that Americans should expect to continue to see high prices at the grocery store, for instance?
Well, again, as I said, inflation is a global problem that has been generated primarily from Putin's unprovoked war in the Ukraine and also COVID. We're in a tough time. The president understands that. The question is, have we put America in a place to deal with a very difficult crisis? And the president certainly has put us in a strong economic position. He continues to use his power every day. American people are really smart. They know how to deal with kitchen table issues, and he's going to do everything he can to ease that burden. And he said to give them a little bit more breathing room. And that's why he gets up every day, and he's going to keep doing that every day that he's a president of the United States.
All right, Mitch Landrieu, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. Appreciate it.